episode of If Trees Could Talk, the only podcast where if you didn't listen to it, did it even happen?
Oh, hell
or if you
yeah.
didn't hear it, what is the expression? If a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, did it even happen?
Yeah, did it even happen? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where I was trying to get at.
Yeah. So basically, as far as we're concerned, our podcast doesn't exist to you because you know what? It doesn't technically if you're not watching it.
Like most things in life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Like taxes. If you don't pay them, do they really exist?
Yeah. Like most people we know. They don't know that we were planning on starting a podcast, that we did start a podcast, and therefore it doesn't exist technically.
That we are doing currently a podcast.
Yeah.
What are our friends doing right now in this moment? I don't know. Are they pooping?
Probably. Yeah, probably pooping, probably playing video games, probably.
That's it. It took
cooking dinner.
30 seconds or less to throw in some toilet humor.
Yeah. So,
I'm an adult.
So last time we got a little carried away with talking.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. So yeah, obviously if you watched or listened to episode 1, that was a little bit over an hour. And so our video recording capability is we have unlimited because of the magic of science, the way that I do it.
It doesn't stop us at any point like most recording cameras do, right? At the 30-minute mark.
It's just basically as long as I have storage space, then we're recording. Or the battery died. That's what happened.
Well, thank God the battery died on us. Or we would have kept talking. We'd still be talking
Probably.
To this day.
And this is exactly why we are doing a podcast, because we talk so much in our vlogs that, we kind of talked about that last podcast, but.
Yeah. So, Zach, what are we going to talk about today in 30 minutes or less?
So we as young adults have rapidly changing lives, especially within our friend group. Recently, we've had 2 friends who just had a baby, and one friend who is having their second kid due in late October. We just got married last fall. We have a group of friends getting married in a month during COVID-19, which will be interesting. So what I wanted to talk about today was parties, because a lot of these parties that I had no idea about until we got married. Yeah. And I thought that I understood. And then we went to a wedding shower this weekend.
Yeah. So, and that's another thing that a lot of people, it depends on where you're from also. In the US, I feel like we have lots of different parties, engagement parties, bridal showers. Right. Now people are starting to do wedding showers because, boys like to be included too, which I think is great. I love the idea of a wedding shower.
Right. So back up. So the bridal shower.
Yes.
Explain what that is.
Well, everyone knows what a bridal shower is.
Oh,
it's a ladies' luncheon.
Listen, when we had our bridal shower, I was like, do I come? Do I have to come? Am I supposed to come?
That's the other thing.
That's what I'm saying. Explain.
Nowadays, the guys, before it would just be like, oh, the ladies go together, they have their lunch, they have their tea and their mimosas and la-di-da, they play their games and they get their women things.
Right.
They get all their women things for their kitchen and their cleaning. Now they have bridal showers where, the husband's there the whole time. He comes towards the end. He comes for partial. Right. Because people open gifts at the bridal shower. Maybe the husband would come to the bridal shower and he would open the gifts with the bride. I personally chose to take the gifts home so we could open them together because I don't like being the center of attention like that. Sitting in a chair opening gifts for 15, 20 minutes. And yeah, that's pretty much the only difference now between the bridal shower and the wedding shower.
Okay.
Which has men invited too. Yeah, but for bridal showers, if you're a child, they have, people bring little boys. That's not uncommon.
Yeah, well, I mean, children don't really count. Their gender doesn't really count when they're under a certain age.
Even when they're under like 5. Yeah. Or even 8, it really doesn't count.
Right.
But not only did we have a wedding shower, we went to this weekend, which was beautiful, lovely, outdoors. Had a big tent, so it was fine though, even though it started raining. We had a baby shower a month ago. Yeah. And that was more of a drive-by because that was in our friend's apartment complex.
Yeah. Yeah. So, kind of the changing times, especially as we kind of watch the current quarantine develop state by state, that's changing.
Yeah. Because we're in New Jersey.
Yeah. So a month ago, for our Kimmy's baby shower, that was basically a drive-by with a social distance kind of hangout in the parking lot, basically.
And people came in shifts. But that also is very different because typically baby showers traditionally have been women only.
Yeah.
And hers was going to be women only until it became this type of social distance thing. Well, at first it was going to be over video. Our other friends who had a baby on May the 4th be with you. They did that on purpose, I think. They induced. I'm just kidding. They didn't induce.
It was meant to be.
They were, I mean, how long was Megan in labor for? Like 20 hours? Something crazy.
Yeah.
She was in labor for a crazy amount of time.
I mean, Jared was probably like, just pinch it in a little bit longer.
Do it. Pinch it in. Hold it in. Just a little bit longer.
Nah, that little baby Jason was ready to pop out.
He was ready to pop.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, but they opened gifts that were sent for the baby shower over video chat because that was literally like right at the beginning of quarantine.
Oh, okay.
That was in March.
Makes sense.
Because I remember it was around the time of my birthday. It was like the weekend after my birthday.
Right.
Which is the first weekend that places started being closed.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, because, we're 27, 28 years old. So we have a lot of friends that, are single, living the good life, having their crazy times. But then we have friends that are, on their second children, friends that are just now getting married. It's that weird. I feel like the millennials are the first generation where we have such a disparity with people in their 20s between the post-college age 22 to like early 30s. You can have people already settle down, buying a house, like the traditional baby boomer style, having kids, or people who are just...
That's something that I couldn't really fathom when I was a freshman, sophomore in college, starting to meet older people and see them at like different stages of their lives. And I was like, well, how can there be such a disparity between people? But it's just really interesting to see all the stages. Like we have one group of two, and not group of friends, but two people who we are friends with who are having their second baby. They have a 2-year-old or about to be a 3-year-old, right?
No, 2.
2, right? Yeah. And seeing like, where they are in raising their son and how a second pregnancy is going, and how different that is. And like trying to make sure like the kid doesn't climb all over you. And then seeing, fresh newborns. It's pretty cool.
I was a fresh baby today.
Yeah.
This is the youngest human being I've ever laid my eyes on.
Really?
In real life, because I don't have nieces and nephews like you do. So me and Jared's baby is 3 days old now, and that's the youngest baby I've ever seen. Before that, it was Lion, and he was at least a year when I met him.
That's true.
By the time I met him, or a few months, and
this
is the youngest human I've ever set eyes on. And it was funny because we were in the car, and I was even saying to Zach, like, I've never been to the hospital. I feel like the first time I go to the hospital is going to be for childbirth.
Joke's on you. You're going to go into labor in the house.
Oh, God.
And then I'm just going to deliver it myself.
No, I was an umbilical cord baby wrapped around the neck.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Something like that. So in the moment, I would be probably prepared and focused on doing it. But, crap happens. Like, the umbilical cord. There was that doctor from another country. I don't remember what country, that delivered the baby and pulled the head off. I'd be terrified because
what kind of doctor was he? Was he a OBGYN?
I don't know. He was delivering someone who delivers the babies.
Oh my God. So
apparently like you use like this forceps sometimes the head gets stuck, but he pulled too hard, or he or she pulled too hard. I don't remember the details, and the baby's head came off.
Wow. The extent of my knowledge of delivering a baby is from a Try Guys video we watched on YouTube. As before Ned had the baby, we were watching, and you have to guide and turn the body and, guide the head. That was funny, but
going back to,
I was like, I was about to say, but I digress, but I don't remember where we began.
Yeah. So going back to, baby showers, wedding showers, those types of party engagements. I didn't really know about them. You just kind of know from like watching TV shows and movies.
Yeah.
But all of the wedding related parties and baby related parties that I have ever been to, I was really young or just didn't go. So I didn't remember or know exactly the specifics. Like we had the engagement party, right? And you were explaining to me that typically if you have an engagement party, you don't have a wedding shower. Because the engagement party, both parties and both sides of the family are there, and also the groom is there, right? Or the male fiance, or not the male fiance, but the other side.
Yeah.
male or female.
Yeah. So, I mean, with same-sex couples, I'd assume that
That's what I mean.
I mean that I'm not sure exactly. I haven't been to a
sure
shower.
I'm sure it's
probably
exactly
the same way. But yeah. So an engagement party. We had an engagement party, and I feel like that would typically be something that would happen right after the engagement, kind of like an announcement almost. And if you're having an engagement party, it's very similar to a wedding shower. You know, you have the groom and, you know, men are invited.
Yeah. And it's just, you know, friends.
Yeah.
But do you invite people who are gonna be going to the wedding? Because at that point, you don't have wedding invitations out necessarily.
But you have your list.
Well, you have your list, but you haven't invited anyone actually yet.
Yeah, technically no one's invited. So, and that's the thing with our engagement party. We had it only a few months before the wedding, and we had just sent out the save the dates around that time. They hadn't gotten to everybody yet. But pretty much if you're invited to an engagement party, it's established you're going to be invited to the wedding. And if you're invited to the engagement party and you know, bring in gifts and everything, and then you're not invited to the wedding, that's a little déclassé.
Right, because the gifts kind of go into paying for your meal at the wedding eventually.
Pay for your plate kind of thing.
At the wedding, yeah. So it all kind of like adds up.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's why someone would have we had a bridal shower where we had, you know, just a ladies only thing. I'm always down to have, you know, guys invited too, but we had the engagement party, so it's
unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
It becomes basically 2 engagement parties.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay. So then the bridal shower is like traditional ladies. Do you know if that's a U.S. only thing? Because I know your mom wasn't sure about the engagement party, and I know that wasn't necessarily.
Or was it the bridal shower?
She wasn't sure about the engagement party.
Yeah.
She you're first generation.
Yeah, I'm first generation. My parents
traditions
both
are
came
different
from
in Poland.
Yeah, traditions are very different in Poland. Even in Poland, my dad was saying the father of the bride doesn't even walk the bride down the aisle in Poland. She walks down herself. So it's just simple things that just are different from country to country that a lot of times, and that's part of having a wedding. You know, you have different generations of people and people who have different, you know, traditions from where they could be it like religion or just geographically where they come from.
Yeah.
And it can
this is just from our point of view.
From our point of view, yeah.
Okay. What about I guess games are probably similar to like
the games
wedding reception for like a wedding shower where the both people are there. Like when we went to the wedding shower this weekend, they did kind of like games that we've seen done at receptions. Like the shoe game where, you know, they ask questions and you raise like, oh, who's better at the finances, and like you raise the girl's shoe or the guy's shoe. We didn't do that at our wedding, but ours is mostly dancing. Plus we left a lot of time for the photographers and videographers.
Yeah, we had. Yeah, that's another thing. Now that I think about it, I mean, we had a fucking kick-ass reception. It was really fun. But we didn't. It was so fun, but we didn't do any games. Now that I think about it, it's funny because I love like games at like receptions.
We planned to. We were planning on doing yard games.
Yeah, we had yard games set up, or did we? We did. No. We had a couple set up.
No.
We didn't have any.
They weren't set up.
I mean, the DJ was so good.
Yeah, everyone was. We have a very active friend group.
Yeah.
And also the family members and then friends of family that were invited.
They were all dancing the whole time.
Yeah, we had a really good DJ.
We had a great, like, that's just attributed to having an amazing DJ, having great lighting, you know, a great crowd, like that was just a lot of dancing. That was fun. Yeah.
So party wise, we have the engagement party, which may or may not be a US thing or a Western thing. We have the bridal shower or wedding shower, depending if the male and female are invited. I mean, the other spouse is invited. And then there's no other parties leading up to the wedding, right? That's pretty much it.
Rehearsal.
I mean, rehearsal, but that's not really like a party, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a rehearsal dinner.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't.
No, there's no other parties.
That's kind of a given. And the rehearsal dinner is just kind of family who's visiting from out of town.
Yeah.
Nuclear family. And then the
bridal party.
Bridal party. Okay.
Yeah, that's bridal party. Your immediate family, and then any guests that came from out of town are usually invited because they're already in town. So it's kind of just, it's a common courtesy to invite them because it's the day before or the night before the wedding, and they came from far.
You might think these things are trivial to you, but to me, these are things that I had no idea unless you Google it. So I think it's important to kind of talk about it, especially because you're going to be doing a video series on our YouTube channel about wedding planning. Yeah, I
learned so much about, I never was the type of person that was just planning out my own wedding in a book or like dreaming about my wedding day. When I was younger, I was like, oh, I hope I'll have a nice, happy marriage, find someone that I love and everything, and have a nice wedding. And then when we got to, not too long before we got engaged and, we're talking about getting married, I had the Pinterest board, the obligatory Pinterest board that, with all the wedding ideas. But it was just mostly, rom-coms that I'd see growing up that I just knew about all these different types of parties. And usually in the rom-coms, you have to have drama. So you'd see something go wrong in all these parties. But yeah, that was kind of my basic knowledge. But then, going through planning a wedding and, being a part of helping other people plan their weddings and, seeing on, like different groups, like community groups on Facebook that I'm a part of where, people discuss all their issues. And I'm just literally the meme of the person, like, I'm just here for the comments.
Yeah.
Like, reading all the comments and like seeing what's going on. Like it's
complicated.
There's a lot of crazy things I've seen, and all of it just made me feel a lot better. Made me feel like my wedding drama was trivial.
Yeah.
Was freaking trivial. There are some really bad things going on out there.
I mean, we got lucky. Our wedding drama was, that's a whole video or podcast on its own, but it was pretty, it was here and there, very specific things.
Yeah. And it would always be solved pretty quickly.
Essentially, yeah.
Essentially.
But yeah, so you're going to be doing a video series on that.
Video series, yeah. I'm going to start recording that soon.
Yeah.
Been meaning to do that for the last few weeks.
Yeah, just a little different now with COVID going on, and what you can and can't do is rapidly changing, amount of people. Like the wedding that we're going to be attending, hopefully we're going to be attending in a month. I think there's 150 people invited, and right now only 50 people are allowed to get together.
Yeah. So right now it's
in the state that the wedding's going to happen.
Yeah. So it might only be immediate family.
Yeah.
But see, common courtesy, we would still send a gift.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't always have to send a gift if you're invited to a wedding, but in this case, I think it would just it's out of their hands, out of their power.
Yeah, it's more than fine. Yeah, we understand.
Actually, there was the venue where we had our wedding. I saw that there was a tropical storm this past weekend, and they were posting pictures, and they were just being poured on. And our wedding venue is completely outdoors.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, when I was seeing, I remember you would say, "Oh, what would happen if it rains?" And I was like, "It cannot rain because otherwise this venue is pointless. It's not worth the money if
we've been walking in mush."
Yeah, if you can't walk on the really nice gardens and everything, it's just not worth the money.
And we actually had rain the week of our wedding, and it was projected to be on
Tropical Storm Dorian.
Yeah, Tropical Storm Dorian, and it was actually projected to rain on our wedding day. And I was like, don't worry, that's actually perfect, because wedding forecasts, I think we're looking at a week and a half
weather
out,
forecast,
2 weeks out. Yeah, I'm sorry, weather forecasts. Was on the exact day, and if it was on the exact day, I'm not too worried because
it always moves.
It moves to the day before, the day after, and lo and behold, it moved to the day before.
2 days before.
2 days before, and the ground was not mushy. It was perfect.
It wasn't wet at all.
We got married under a tree. If you haven't seen our wedding video, it's on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And it was just great. The music was great. The DJ was great. The live band was great. We didn't have the musicians sinking into the dirt by the tree.
Well, yeah, we had a string quartet, so we had a cellist, and they have their heavy instrument obviously pointed at the ground. Could only imagine. I'd be like, no, come back.
Speaking of music, it's a good time to plug the advertisement for this podcast, artlist.io. It's the music that we use for all of our YouTube videos, our podcast, when we live stream, and basically what it is it's a music licensing provider where You download music. You can use it on your YouTube channel, Instagram, any other social media account, your podcast. And what really sets apart this music subscription service from others is
which we've used others in the past.
Is that you own the music that you download in sound effects, because they now have sound effects and Foley for your videos and projects in perpetuity, which is, you might think that's trivial, but we changed YouTube channels once or twice, and we are on different platforms, and you and I both have our own Instagrams, we have our own Twitter accounts, we have our own accounts. They're not all joint, even though we're merging a lot of them. And other music subscription services let you put it on your video, but you have to tell them what channels you have so they know not to copyright strike you. Whereas Artlist, once you download the video, you get the licensing and it's yours forever. Even if you cancel the subscription, or after a year you don't renew your subscription, it's yours. So for instance, our podcast intro, we own that forever. So subscribe, there's a link below. If you subscribe using our link, you get 2 months free. If you subscribe, you get 2 months free, we get 2 months free. It's a win-win situation, and they have really cool music, so check it out.
Doesn't cost you guys anything, and it helps us out, and we can keep doing what we love doing and keep up our passion.
So to wrap up, we talked about wedding parties, now baby parties. There is the baby shower.
That's it.
That's not it. Because
what else is there?
Gender reveal parties.
Oh my God, that's a new thing too. Gender reveal parties is a new thing. And I've discussed this with, people that are expecting and other, moms and stuff. And they say that it's completely merged into its own thing. Baby showers used to be pretty, small. They would be in, the parents' home, and they would just have people come, bring gifts,
almost
same
like
thing, luncheon.
It's basically an engagement party.
Yeah.
But
again, with women.
Engagement, it's a baby. That's true.
No,
the men are
traditionally
invited.
It was women.
So it's like a bridal shower.
It's like just like a bridal shower.
Okay.
Almost the same thing. And again, you're getting relevant gifts.
And then the gender reveal is a wedding shower.
And pretty much, yeah. And then the gender reveal started to become this whole thing. People used to, and I was talking about this with Kimmy. She was saying how, people used to just, or it was Kimmy or someone else. I don't know. Maybe it was someone else. But they would just, be in the doctor's office, and, the person who would read the scans, I don't remember what they're called. But they would, the technicians would just, tell you what the gender of your baby is, or the doctor would send you home with an envelope and you'd open it yourself at home. Now they have these elaborate things. You have these poppers, you have fireworks,
theatrical device.
Balloons.
Yeah, like smoke bombs,
glitter
bombs.
Yeah, really theatric. I mean, we would probably do lightsabers.
Probably.
Maybe.
Probably.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need to start planning our gender reveal parties. We just finished planning weddings.
Oh yeah, hopefully time soon.
Yeah, we have a couple more years until that. Those are such elaborate things, and that's a new thing too, because people would either they want to know what the sex of their baby's going to be, or they don't want to know, and that's just something that people didn't used to have entire parties just to reveal what the gender was.
Right. Yeah, it's a fairly new thing. And I wonder how that started. That's not something that I researched before the podcast. I wonder if it was like a Pinterest thing, or
sounds like an Instagrammable moment.
TikTok things. Baby gender reveals.
It's been going on longer than that.
Pre-TikTok, so maybe Vine.
Pre-Vine.
Pre-Vine, then YouTube, I guess.
It's just and millennials are older than us, so I think it's a millennial generation thing, because millennials go up to their mid-30s.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if any Gen Xers did it, but
yeah, so it is a millennial thing, I guess.
It's such a Yeah.
At least we're the first gen.
It sounds like such a millennial thing.
Yeah. But,
it really does if you think about it.
It's a cool time to celebrate. I mean, I can't see people having gender reveal parties realistically for like second and third kids, but the first kid, you're really excited and you want to do all the stuff.
Well, that's what I was talking with Alicia about, because she was talking about having a second kid, and if she was gonna, because she had mentioned she had a big baby shower for her first child, and she didn't know if she was gonna do something big for her second child,
especially with COVID. Yeah.
Well, with COVID, that's completely different. But
yeah, they just had us guess.
Yeah. I've noticed a lot of people don't really do a big thing for their second child, and that's funny. It's like a second marriage. That's something else I saw a lot about in my Facebook groups that I'd be reading. when it's your second marriage, you know, this one bride was saying how it's her second marriage, but her husband's first marriage. And, you know, her mother was telling her that, you know, you can't have a bridal shower because you already did that and the wedding didn't last. You'd invite the same people. But then people were commenting and saying like, oh, you would have a bridal sprinkle. And that's instead of a shower, it's a sprinkle.
What the fuck?
And they do that for babies too. Like they call it like a baby sprinkle. That just sounds like a baby pissing on you.
Yeah.
But like a baby sprinkle.
Changing a diaper and getting in the eye.
Oh God. If we have a boy, you're gonna have to change the diaper all the time. But yeah, so that's another whole thing that people do. That I don't know. It's curious. I almost like not knowing where this all came from. I like the mystery. Because everyone's
just a rabbit hole, basically. You could go down that hole and probably keep going and going.
But this all,
because it could be rooted in culture or just our generation.
And you know, nowadays it all stems back to people's preference. There are people that are very minimalist. You know, they have, even before COVID, there were, you know, micro weddings, elopements, and there's a lot of people that just like to do things differently. Some people like to have babies in the hospital, traditional. Some people like to have a doula at home and have, you know, a birth in a tub. Try to be, you know, everyone's different with what they like to do. And I think that our generation, we really do see just such a difference between all the different. It's different.
So we could talk about these individual topics in depth in future episodes if anyone is interested. But I just wanted to keep on our, I guess, brand, basically, kind of talk about the things that we learn as millennials, as a 27-year-old, 28-year-old. And as we learn it, trying to help you learn in turn and just kind of figuring out shit together, man, because fuck, I don't know anything.
Well, are we expected to know anything or are we not? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. It's going to change again in 10 years, I feel like.
Yeah.
With the internet, everything's changing so quickly.
Yeah.
So I guess thank you, Pinterest, for keeping us grounded. Just reminding us of all the ways that we can
and how old we're getting.
Party and how old we're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting us talk at you. We'll be here next week with another episode 3. We're going to keep this train going. It feels good to finally roll out these videos that we had backed up and getting some more out and actually getting some projects that we want to get done.
Yeah. Just, hitting the pavement hard.
Yeah. You want to do the outro?
I don't remember what the outro was.
It's the same as the intro.
Okay. Well, that was another episode of If Trees Can Talk, the only podcast where if you didn't even listen to it, did it even happen? All right. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Zach.
All right. Talk at you next week.
Bye.